With the rain pouring down on a cold day in Rhode Island, the fans are full throat here today as Rhode Island looks for its first win in club history against the Charleston Battery side that went to the USL Championship final last season. Michael Watching and former Manchester United keeper Gary Bailey with you today. Excited to watch this one. Rhode Island, one of the 4 teams in the USL Championship without a win this season, while Charleston is one of the 7 without a loss. Lou City has already won today, so is Hartford, so Charleston drops to the number 4 slot. Last week, Rhode Island against Tampa Bay, just one bad half, what Conno Smith told us. A lot of defensive miscues.
Yeah, 1-0 up at halftime. This ball over the top, keeper slow to react, 1-1, and then it was a whole litany of errors. Could have been a lot more goals. This one here, Yao tries to hook it clear, misses it completely. That gets slammed in the back of the net, and from out wide. This one was a bit more difficult. Mark Ibarra just not staying with the marker, but that's a hard one to defend against. And a 4th very poor goal. Yeah, it was a bad half, no question about that.
It was the first loss of the season for Rhode Island. Albert Dequa, 3 goals already this season after being the Golden Boot winner last year, one behind that pace this season. He's always in great form. Who helps him today?
Well, anyone who can is welcome to help, I'm sure. But he's a fabulous finisher. Got 2 away at Monterey Bay and then put them in the lead against Tampa Bay. Must have been upset with the second half defensive performance. He might have thought he got them a win at Tampa Bay, but he just scores goals for fun, that man.
Charleston fell behind Miami 1-0 before Nick Marcanic, one of the leading goal scorers in the league, equalized, and the Battery came back from a losing position to get all 3 points in this one.
Yeah, 3 goals in 3 games, Nick Marcanic. He's such a clever player, so talented in so many ways. This one, a shot here from Juan David Torres, gets palmed out. MD Myers, quickest to react.
Marcanic has scored in 3 consecutive games, getting help from the MLS Next Pro Golden Boot winner in MD Myers from last season. Marcanic is in great form and really soaring despite the fact that the Battery lost one of the best goal scorers in the history of the league, Augie Williams.
Yeah, hard to replace Augie Williams, isn't it? But you get MD Myers catching on form. Nick Marcanic's already in form. You add in Juan David Torres on the fringes and Emilio Icaza, and suddenly going forward along with Diego Gutierrez, there could still be a very good offensive lineup for Charleston Battery.
Will Rhode Island get its first ever victory today? Or will Charleston run its unbeaten string to 10 in a row dating back to last year? We answer that question and have the kickoff coming up next.
At Ortho Rhode Island, we've built the future of orthopedic care around an important foundation, you. Our experienced surgeons and specialists offer the full spectrum of orthopedic care with leading-edge treatments and technology and a one-of-a-kind patient experience. From diagnosis to outpatient surgery, physical and occupational therapy, acute injury care, and advanced imaging, we make you the cornerstone of innovative care. To learn more or schedule an appointment, visit orthopedicsri.com.
Hey Providence, we're Breeze Airways, and we offer non-stop flights from Rhode Island's T.F. Green International Airport. We're redefining what it means to fly up front. This one's for you. Introducing Breeze Ascent, the newest, nicest way to fly. It's seriously comfortable, satisfying, and affordable. Book today at flybreeze.com and experience the nicest way to travel. Breeze Airways, seriously nice.
What does purpose look like? Whatever your purpose, we're here to help. Centerville Bank. Progress on purpose.
History is made in Rhode Island.
Congratulations, Rhode Island FC, for achieving the dream and making this a reality.
Rhode Island FC, the Ocean State's only professional soccer team, has kicked off its historic inaugural season.
This is going to be a spectacle to enjoy.
Rhode Island on the board!
Don't miss your chance to be a part of the action. Family 4-packs are now available starting at just $80. Get your tickets today.
The future is bright for Rhode Island FC.
The reigning Eastern Conference champs, Charleston Battery, in town to take on the Rhode Island side, looking for their first win in club history. And still without Koke Vegas, so Jackson Lee gets the start for the second straight match.
Yeah, without a whole bunch of players. Grant Stoneman's out, Karifa Yao, JJ Williams, Amos Shapiro-Thompson. So 2 changes. Nodase into that centre-back position in place of Yao, Alves in place of Stoneman. It's a bit of a makeshift back 4, which is a concern, but going forward, of course, Dikwa leading and some very strong players, McGlynn and Ibarra in midfield.
Charleston, conversely, a very experienced keeper and 31-year-old Adam Grinwis. And then you have that potent top of this starting 11.
Yeah, 2 changes for them. One, David Torres starts, Arturo Rodriguez injured, and Emilio Ikaza in for Chris Allen, who drops to the bench. They've got Jackson Conway injured and Arturo Rodriguez. As you say, Malloy there. Chris Allen is surprised that he gets put to the bench, but Ikaza coming in. And up front, MD Myers and Nick Marcanic in particular. 2 very dangerous players.
Well, it is a rainy evening here in Rhode Island. Temperatures maybe peaking over 40 degrees, but we should be in the 30s much of the day. The rain will be consistent throughout the night here. The good news, perhaps for the players, is you don't have to deal with mud because you're on an AstroTurf field. The bad news is the ball will be very, very fast skipping across, and that will certainly pose issues for defenders and attackers alike in this matchup. But for you, Gary, in England, this is a typical summer day, right?
Certainly in Manchester it would be. Look, from a goalkeeping perspective, this sort of surface is very, very tricky. The ball will skid off. You can miss time coming out of the box from a through ball. You can miss time a save. So you're quite right. Defenders and goalkeepers in particular could have a tricky day today, but that means opportunities for the strikers.
It's been a high-scoring day already in the championship. Hartford and Miami both scoring multiple goals. Hartford Athletic winning 3-2. Lou City and Indy 11 5-3 in that CBS showcase match, the first ever USL Championship game on national TV. And we're ready to roll here. Rhode Island in the blues, and it's the white jerseys for Charleston. The whistle blows. Here we go. It's the reigning Eastern Conference champion, Charleston Battery, taking on Rhode Island. Michael Watring and Gary Bailey with you. Excited to watch this one. Is tonight the night that Rhode Island gets that elusive first win? I think everybody would agree that Rhode Island may be a bit unlucky to not have a victory in their pocket and only be sitting at 2 points at this point in the year.
Well, that's something that Ben Pearman, the Charleston Battery coach, agreed with you on. He said exactly the same thing. This is a better squad and team than the points would suggest, and that was his warning to his players. Don't take this one lightly. Yes, it's a new team to the USL, but they are stacked with talent.
Ben Pearman's biggest key is this ball trickles into the box and we get a foul. Whistled in the end on the Battery. Ben Pearman said he wants to take Rhode Island's belief away. Knows that they're a talented and really good team, but understands, having gone through it last year for spells, despite getting to the Eastern Conference final, that when things aren't going your way, at times you start to believe that you can't get over the hump, and wants to do that here today.
Yeah, huge focus on the back 4 or 3, depending on how Rhode Island actually do line up, because the errors at Tampa Bay cannot happen again.
Ikaza lays it off Gutierrez. Gutierrez flicks it in. McGlynn intercepts. Completely out of harm's way yet, Dos Santos.
For the record, do we know that?
Here's Torres. Whipping ball into the 18-yard box. This is a Charleston team that leads the league, despite small sample size, in possession. They've had at least 61% of possession in 3 of their 4 matches this year. So they do have a lot of the ball. But Ben Pearman says, despite the fact that they lead the league in shots as well, wants to see higher quality in those chances. Turnbull called for the foul. Gives us a chance to take a look at our health report, brought to you by Ortho Rhode Island, the official orthopedic partner and team physicians of RIFC. Learn more at orthopedicsri.com. And there are plenty of injuries on both sides. You know, Rhode Island has several of them, but also Charleston missing the likes of Arturo Rodriguez and Jackson Conway as well, players that they expected to be able to produce some goals. Those likely out for an extended duration. First set piece of the night. Charleston studies. Malloy whips it to the back post. Asking for a foul, not getting the call. Turnbull walks out of there with it. Lifts it forward, here's Dikwa. Working 1v1 against Segbers, two veterans in this league. Dikwa shifts it around, fine first touch, but unable to keep his feet was Brito. And the first defensive test passed by Charleston, and we get our first booking of the match as well in that sequence. And it goes.
I think it was Clay Holstead,
I believe that's correct.
Just by the way, a good example of how dangerous, we'll get to it in a moment. Here is the yellow card. Ball comes right across and takes his feet, but just going back a moment or two ago, Dikwa holding the ball up, turning, switching the play, getting the ball right into the box. He on his own there really created a fantastic opportunity. Just couldn't take it, could the striker that the ball went to, but again, that's the value of Dikwa up front for Rhode Island.
Stan intercepts that, but only gets it as far as Dos Santos. Gutierrez. Kaza, who was great in the playoffs last year, gets fouled by Dikwa. Early physicality between these two sides. Gutierrez, the 24-year-old out of Creighton. Able to elude. Turnbull in the end. Moy intervenes. Markanek slides away. Markanek shoots from a long way away, and that one handled rather comfortably by the 22-year-old out of West Virginia, Jackson Lee. Let's take a look at our keys to tonight's match. From Gary Bailey, what do you see tonight?
Rhode Island cutting out defensive errors. Well, we've said that already. The second half against Tampa Bay was very poor, and they've got to get tighter at the back. And for Charleston Battery, I mean, you mentioned it, Ben Pearman saying this season he wants to have more possession, and with that possession, he wants to create more quality chances. That's how he takes them up one more level. And that's quite impressive, because they were at a decent level last season, getting to the championship final and only losing on penalties.
That's the only loss that they've had in their stretch of 9. Last time that they lost in regulation, you have to go back to October 7th when they dropped a 2-1 decision against Miami.
See how hard Charleston Battery work in the press. They close teams down very quickly. You can see here the white shirts all pushing. It's a very high energy game that Ben Pearman had them playing last season as well, and they look to get turnover ball in the opponent's half.
This ball trickles all the way into the 18-yard box. Greenwith cleans it up. It's the second youngest team at this point in the season, the Charleston Battery. Or check that, the Rhode Island side, second youngest team. Average age of about 25, about a half year older than the youngest group, Miami. Only Prince Sadie at 30 is the lone player not in his 20s for this Rhode Island group. And with this expansion roster filled with talent, still trying to find that cohesion at the beginning of the season.
I'm just looking at Charleston Battery. They're not much dissimilar. If you take Adam Greenwith out of it, the rest of the team are mid-20s, not even the oldest. Graham Smith, 28, Mark Segbers, 27. A lot of them 23s and 24s. So it seems like both Connor Smith and Ben Pearman creating squads and teams that could potentially stick together for many years to come.
It's an impressive job by this Charleston group with the talent that they lost. They lost the Young Player of the Year in Fidel Barajas. Also, Trey Muse, their goalkeeper, to the MLS. Both of those players going to MLS sides. And then Augie Williams also gone as well, and he was one of the top goal scorers last season. And they rebuilt it by reloading. Blocking the right-hand side, chasing after it. First time ball in. Closest target was MD Myers, and it trickles out in the first corner. of the night belongs to the Battery.
Again, good pressure from the visiting sides. They just work you constantly. They look for weaknesses in your play. They hassle you. They make it difficult for you to settle on the ball. And of course, they've got strikers like MD Myers and Nick Markanik who can score the goals as well. So basically, don't give you a moment's peace or rest to Charleston Battery when they're playing to their normal high level.
Footed cross in near post. Stad gets the first piece of it. Cleared not convincingly in the end. Circled around and looking over the top of his frame that time was Jackson Lee. The new era of the USL continues on the CBS networks in April. Join us on Tuesday, just a few days from now, April 9th, on CBS Sports Network. It's Charleston Battery taking on Louisville City at 7 p.m. Eastern in a rematch of last year's Eastern Conference Final. What started is for Lou City this season, 5 more goals today to 12 points, but trying to keep pace with that Detroit City side that is closing in on a historic start to the year. Flag up for offside. Tenth minute of action, scoreless so far. Second home match of the year for Rhode Island as they play here at Burns Stadium before opening the digs in Tidewater next season. For the closest target to that header from Turnbull. Instead it's Ikaza lifting it forward. Torres once more, flag up, offside. Entering the match, Charleston with 67 shots. It's 11 more than the next closest team in the league. So the defensive effort from Rhode Island will have to be cleaned up from last week against Tampa Bay if they're to get their first win in club history. Malloy moves into Fuson, and Fuson aggravated in the end. Dequa comes back to take the ball away. Here's Turnbull. Dequa right back with it. They aided along for Fuson instead. Given right back.
Good switch of play from being under all sorts of pressure, opens it up for Dos Santos. Very tight, isn't it, from both sides? Not much space to play in. Just wonder after the second half that Tampa Bay had, knocking long balls from the goalkeeper and defenders, whether 1 or 2 long balls over the top might work for Charleston Battery, at least to try out the Rhode Island defense and see how they respond.
Hauser gets called for a foul. You have to think that they will want to test that back line at some point. As you mentioned at the outset, a little bit of a makeshift group. Another foul is whistled. A lot of early fouls in this one. Bringing the match to a stalemate at times.
Referee just having a word, and maybe the conditions are not helping, but Dick was pointing to the back of his calves saying, seriously, this is not a yellow card. As you said at the very, very beginning, when AstroTurf gets a bit wet, it's hard to keep your feet, it's hard to measure your tackles, but at the same time, rules are rules. And if players overstep and they endanger the opposition, then they will end up in the book, you would think. And referee Joshua Encarnacion in charge here tonight.
Definitely a wet evening. Rain started about an hour and a half before kickoff and was pretty strong at times. Rain expected throughout the evening here at Burns Stadium. How does Rhode Island handle this moment? The free kick. Dequa punches it into the box. Second ball. Bodies colliding and finally sent away to midfield.
Jackson Lee had an assist last week, knocked it all the way through, slipped as he did it, but he'll claim he meant to and got it through to Dequa, who was right through on goal against Tampa Bay Rowdies. So don't be surprised if Jackson Lee tries something similar during the course of tonight's game.
Sometimes those slips make it more accurate.
Lots of white shirts pushing in. This is the high press game that Charleston can play so well. Interesting to see how number 81, David Torres, fits in. Haven't seen much of him, except his shot against Miami last week that was parried out and finished off by MD Myers for the winner.
No foul to be whistled here.
Seems to be playing quite high up, one David Torres. He was in the lineup as a left midfielder, left wing back position, but the way he's playing now, he's more of an attacking midfielder.
And Pierman said that his English hasn't quite caught up, and they're trying to work through that. Continue to teach him on a daily basis. Very raw, talented player.
He's signed from Millonarios in Colombia. So all those from Colombia will probably know that team quite well.
Bounces in a precarious spot. Palma handles it pretty well in the end. Arcanic pulls it forward. Torres the intended target. Rhode Island will recycle this ball back to Lee. Spins it out to the sideline. As it comes out of there with it. Lifts it along the sideline. Gutierrez, though, is offside. So it'll be a free kick coming for Rhode Island. Can't watch the match? Turn on Sirius XM FC 157, North America's only 24/7 source for engaging soccer talk, including USL All Access, Tuesdays at 7 p.m. Eastern. Plus, hear live matches from the USL, MLS, Premier League, and more, all on Sirius XM FC 157 and the new SXM app.
Grinbus did sort of half fault him for the goal against Miami last week. Came rushing off his line where maybe he didn't need to, and Gavilanes just rounded him and stuck it in the back of the net. Again, this is whole discussion of how far should goalkeepers come out, and if they come out too far, sometimes it can be quite a lot easier for the striker to score. All you do is go around the keeper, and then you've got an empty net.
Gutierrez hustles to the corner. Too hefty on that touch. Turnbull, a great deal of stress. Flings it forward. And now the charge on for Rhode Island. Flag, though, up in the end. Dequa is making the run down the sideline, and the flag goes up.
Accompanied by some disparaging comments from those behind the assistant ref, but I'm sure he's used to that.
Tough way to start the year for Charleston. 6 of the first 8 games of the season away from home. What it does mean is if they come away with points like they have so far, they finish the year with 8 of their final 12 at Patriots Point.
Interesting, both these coaches are good friends, Connor Smith and Ben Pearman. They've been on coaching courses together and stay in touch, and no doubt we'll have a good chat once this match is finished.
First met about 7 years ago. Both spoke highly of each other when we talked to him earlier this week. Koenig finds it all the way back. Just 2 shots total in this match so far, both from the battery. There's a long ball sent into the 18. Nobody in particular the choice.
Let's say one thing about Rhode Island, looking at their expected goals, on average it's higher than the opposition they've played. So it's not like they're being played off the park. Again, the exception being the second half against Tampa Bay Rowdies, but look at all the other halves of play. They've been equal to or even better than their opposition as far as expected goals is concerned. So there's no need for Connor Smith or the fans to worry unnecessarily at this stage of the season.
There's no booking there after a lengthy discussion. Joshua Encarnacion and Connor McGlynn.
Leo Kaza with a very clever little turn there. Just suckered Connor McGlynn into making contact.
20th minute, scoreless between Rhode Island and Charleston. Watching Gary Bailey and our crew guiding you through the evening. This ball pedaled forward. Koenig sends it right back to where it was initiated. Swinging into the 18 here. And he goes down. Fuson comes out of there with it. Dequa feathers one through the middle. On that left-hand side now. Rhode Island getting numbers forward. Fuson wants it. It ends up in Grinwis's chest.
It's where you need quality, isn't it? In that final part of the field, you've got to find the likes of Fuson at the near post, Dequa at the far post, and ultimately just finds the opposing goalkeeper. Coaches talk about that all the time. One place you really want quality is around the edge of the box. Of course, you want quality everywhere else where you can get it, but that's where it hurts the opposition, that final ball into a dangerous area.
Holstad keeps it in. It stays right along the chalk. McGlynn.
Wouldn't mind seeing Holstad push forward occasionally.
He does bend this ball in. Grinwis gets taken out in the end. Quite the collision. Grinwis had the angle on it. And it was Dequa flying in.
That was just 2 brave players, both going for a 50-50 ball. Goalkeeper Adam Grinwis doing so well to get there. And Dequa also flying in. This is a great ball in from Holstad, by the way. It asks a lot of questions, and goalkeeper's coming for it, but until he gets it, Dequa's entitled to try and get there before him. He just waits for it a little bit, but it was in the goalkeeper's hands. Have a look here. It's in his hands, and then he gets hit. So no question it's a free kick for the goalkeeper, but there was no intent to hurt. It was just both parties eyes on the ball and going for the prize. But I was just saying about Clay Holstad, it's a fantastic ball he put in, but in that first match, I think you were commentating on, the first home match, he's hit the crossbar, he's hit the post. When he gets near the box, he's got a tremendous strike on him.
There's no question about it, but to your point that you're talking about within this group for Rhode Island, being an expansion team, getting players from around not just this league, but MLS Next Pro and everywhere else, trying to find that finishing touch in the end is something that this team will eventually grow into. You mentioned Clay Holstad. Other than Dequa, he's the only player that has multiple shots on target this season for Rhode Island. And when he can get forward, certainly means that he can be a difference maker. And after the clutter gets cleaned up, Dequa gets shown the yellow card for that reckless challenge of Grinwis.
He's complaining about it, but when you see it in slow motion, the goalkeeper gets there first and the ball is in his hands momentarily. So, I mean, we're talking a split second as Connor Smith watches on. I would have tended perhaps to say it as a 50-50, but the referee's right. The goalkeeper had it in his hands. Then he gets clobbered by Dequa. If that happens in the middle of the park where you're a split second late, you're in trouble. So why shouldn't it happen with a goalkeeper? I am, of course, giving you the goalkeeper's official line of defense.
It's not like that's ever happened to you before, right?
Part of the goalkeepers union.
Question that Cano Smith had facing this Battery group was, how do you disrupt them and disrupt that rhythm that they've gotten into this season, where they have a lot of possession and take a lot of shots? So far, just 2 from Charleston. There's a moment right there that Cano Smith will be happy about, with this back line intervening there and not allowing that ball to enter the 18. Kaza twirls, shoves it forward. The target was MD Myers, out of his reach.
Well, if you're looking at which team is happier, I would only assume at this stage that Charleston, away from home, they've quietened the crowd, taken the sting out of the match as such. It's quite a vociferous crowd, and at home, that first opening match, there was a great atmosphere. So if they were to take the lead, Rhode Island, you think this place would be rocking. And so from a Battery point of view, you just keep everything under control, keep the crowd quiet, and build your way into the match. So I would guess that Ben Pearman probably slightly the happier of the two coaches at this stage.
Rhode Island still without a shot so far. In fact, they haven't had a touch inside of their attacking box yet. Goal kick given here.
Complaints from Albert Dukwa and 1 or 2 of the crowd. They feel that came off a Charleston Battery player before it went out.
There's Ben Pearman, the greatest turnaround in USL Championship history a year ago. 34 points better than the year prior.
Be nice if he would turn around. There we go. On cue. Yeah, it was a fantastic season. I mean, he just did a brilliant job from bottom to top. Brought in some quality players from Memphis, where he was manager before that, and Aaron Malloy being one of them. Absolutely fabulous midfield player. Chris Allen as well was brought in the previous season. Malloy coming this season. Still those white shirts right up there, pressing hard. It takes a lot of energy to have that high press game, because of course if they play through you, you've got to rush back and help out with defending. But what it does is that it forces the team to knock it long. You get possession, and the idea is that you then hang on to the possession.
Dangerous play there, nearly intercepted by Dikwa. Fuson lays it back. Turnbull. Given against Charleston.
It's a good attempt to switch play, just slightly overhit. It's not an easy skill to knock the ball to feet over 30, 40 yards across the pitch. You always do run the risk of a misplaced pass.
This foul goes on Rhode Island, and it results in a booking as well for McGlinnan. He's already the 3rd Rhode Island player to go in the books.
With that rain pouring down there, conditions very, very difficult, which is why you don't want to slide, because it's very difficult to control that slide. He slid in once, McGlinnan, and then he slides in again with both feet up, and that's what the referee doesn't like. That's him going to ground once, but then watch this time he goes in. It's leading with the foot. I mean, on its own, it's probably not a bookable offense, but he's been warned already. And I would guess the advice that his coach, Connor Smith, will give him is just stay on your feet. It's just one of those pitches and days when sliding is not advised. Dick, we're having another argument. Yeah, I think he's argued every decision so far. Fighting for the cause is Albert Dikwa.
And he'll talk to whoever will listen to him. He was trying to argue with Grinwis after he fouled him hard and getting that yellow card earlier in the match. Ball bounces in there, swept away. Be a tough ball to handle here in the end. Breathing down as well as Fuson. Grinwis gobbles it up.
Well defended by Charleston Battery there. There was a moment where you thought, oh, they could be in trouble, but headed back perfectly into the keeper's arms. Good communication, I assume, between keeper and centre backs, and Graham Smith doing the job expertly well.
Foul against Charleston here.
It's a sort of game that needs a goal, doesn't it? It's all being battled out in the midfield, not many chances at either end. I guess from a neutral perspective, you're wanting either one side score a goal and then open the game up a little bit. But I guess from a technical point of view, good defending, good closing down. Those are the positives you would take out of this first third of the game.
This has been what Rhode Island has done this year. They haven't given up a goal earlier than the 45th minute this season. 6 of the 7 that they've allowed have come in the second half. They've been very strong in the opening 45. It's the question of, can they put a full 90 together?
And also, can they defend set pieces? They conceded a free kick in the opening match. They conceded a free kick against Monterey Bay. And those are things that teams coming into this division, players haven't played together, might get wrong initially. You understand that, but you've got to tighten that up as quickly as possible.
Just past the half-hour mark in this matchup. Rhode Island looking for its first win in club history. A loss and 2 draws through the first 3. Charleston on the other side, 2 wins, 2 draws to open up the year. Our entire crew thanks you for tuning in. With Gary Bailey, I'm Michael Watrang. Bodies collide and a foul eventually whistled. Well, the fans here have echoed the sentiment of the players, and here comes the booking as well. Another card coming out, this one on Franck Nadarce. 4th Rhode Island player with a yellow card in the first 31 minutes.
This is unnecessary again. Most of these yellow cards you don't need to get. Don't throw the ball away. Put it down, roll it back. I mean, yes, it's a decision which maybe could have gone your way, could not have gone your way, but let the referee do what he has to do. Make a decision, call it. Just don't pick up the ball. I mean, it's one thing raising your hands, even picking up the ball, but then don't do that, because now you're asking for trouble, and there's 4 players. The odds of one of these players getting a second yellow in conditions like that are quite high, and if that happens, I think they've only got themselves to blame. Albert Dikwa, I get it, was a 50-50 in his mind. That yellow card was trying to score a goal, but some of the others have just been ridiculously silly ones.
Definitely has been a very tight called game so far. There have been a boatload of whistles on both sides, certainly leaning in the Rhode Island direction with more, and the rain continues just absolutely pour here at Burns Stadium. Have to credit the fan base here in Rhode Island. They're excited to have a professional team in this state, and they have shown out for this one. You can see the rain just pelting the surface. If you didn't bring a poncho today, or 2 or 3, you certainly made a mistake.
They should get a free ticket to the next match just for turning up. It's very, very impressive from this wonderful fan base for Rhode Island.
And 1636, the supporter group, hanging on those drums, chanting all night long. Quickly taken this time around, Gutierrez. Boots one, swings it back. High arcing bender to the back post. That has no chance of getting to anybody, much to the delight of the fans.
It's unlike Charleston Battery, their quality into the box is normally much better than that. There are those wonderful fans, probably clapping and shouting just to keep warm.
As a player, when it's raining like this, can you even dry off at halftime?
You can, but you're going to get wet the moment you walk out. It's always worse for a goalkeeper. Oh, risky, risky. It's always worse for a keeper because you can't run around to keep warm. So you know, especially when it drops below freezing, it's very difficult to keep your body temperature up. I can say it now because I'm talking about playing in the 80s, but they used to give me a whiskey at half time just to get the blood flowing.
Emilio Icaza is the first Charleston player to go in the books.
Unnecessary because it was a white shirt, just about to win that ball, Icaza. Again, if you're going to do this on the edge of your box when the player's about to run into the box, I get it, but he can see that Smith was ready to pounce there. He didn't need to pick up that yellow, and you can see the frustration. He knows himself, and no doubt Ben Pearman will say to him, you don't pick up a yellow for that because it could come back to haunt you. El Capitano.
He's a pretty good distance away for Rhode Island. Certainly a passing option here. Zera as well as Ibarra. Zera sets the ball down. Ibarra slings it to the back post, and a foul whistled in the end. Did you wear gloves when you played?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. You got to, in these conditions, you've got to wear gloves.
Did you change those at halftime?
You wrung them out. No, seriously, you just wrung them out. You got all the water out of them. And then used to, I'm going into details here, but used to put your hands in hot water to get the feeling back because they'd be frozen.
Wow. No hand warmers back then, right?
None of this stuff. No. I mean, it isn't that cold just yet for Rhode Island, but if the snow was falling and the temperature's below zero, then as a goalkeeper in particular, it's your body, keeping your body temperature up becomes a very tricky business.
Segbers sends it back. Grinwis charges after it. That's a fine ball. Flag staying down here. Choices to be made. The shot is on. Lee punches it away. It is a corner in the end, but the best chance for Charleston early thwarted by Lee is Juan David Torres got it.
He thought that was going in, Juan David Torres. It's a lovely little ball that gets played through there. Absolutely fantastic. Cuts inside. I thought he had an option with Gutierrez just to lay him up, but he goes for the shot and is just going inside the post. And he's about to celebrate. Look, his arms went up and then they went to his head.
That was a pretty good direction. If Lee is leaning at all, thinking along your lines, thinking that Gutierrez might get it, that ball might tuck into that corner.
He's a player that Charleston Battery fans are very excited about, Juan David Torres. There's so little known about him. You just wonder just how good is he?
Markanik able to slow it down. It's picked up by Lee. Torres showed up on a Monday for a tryout, and Ben Pearman admitted that happens a lot more frequently than you would think. Said it happens maybe around 100 times a year. And as a coaching staff, you go into it not knowing what to expect. And by Tuesday, the day after he walked in, he knew that they needed to sign him. That ball mishandled. Equa nearly makes it pay. Instead, Fuson. Shot blocked, comes out, McGlynn. McGlynn debating. Wants the left foot this time. Grinwis had it covered as it trickles wide.
Some excitement for the fans, both ends of the pitch. Been suddenly all opportunities. Charleston Battery had a couple. Now Rhode Island have created something. Just felt Conor McGlynn's first chance on his right foot opened up, and then he hesitated, wasn't quite sure whether there was a better option. Eventually came back onto his left, but by then the angle had slightly closed. A good high press coming from Rhode Island. So both teams, they have the high press when they can. They're both adventurous teams. I think over the course of the season, they're going to be a lot of fun to watch. Both these teams have Connor Smith and Ben Pierman.
The first shot of the match for Rhode Island took until the 38th minute. Maybe the game opening up here at the end of the first half. Dequa waiting. Grinwis, what a header that was. Space, McGlynn shoots. It goes high. If he puts that on frame, it's a dandy of an opening goal.
That's great goalkeeping and brave goalkeeping, but you're right. Once he came out of his box, that goal was wide open for a chip into the empty net. But it skips off this turf, so that it just helped him. But then he's got to scramble back, and that was worth the dip, and in the end, off target. But and I tell you what, Albert Dequa was raising his foot, so for Grinwis to continue with that when he knew there was a chance he was going to get a boot in the face, that's brave goalkeeping yet again from Adam Grinwis.
Grinwis has mostly been a number 2 or number 3 goalkeeper in MLS for almost the duration of his professional career. And finally getting a chance to be an everyday starter at the professional level here at the Battery. Koenig draws the foul. That's an interesting decision, and that's to your point earlier.
If he wasn't on a yellow, that would be an automatic yellow because he was stopping a good sort of creation opportunity. But because he's on a yellow, referee, I think, just gave him the benefit of the doubt. Very, very risky play from Nadase.
Those are the moments, though, that you hold your breath if you're a Rhode Island supporter, knowing that 4 of your players have a yellow card. Torres. 5 minutes or so left in the first half, plus stoppage time. Torres slings it forward. Fine defensive work there. Asking for a foul and now getting it. It's Gabby Alves. Draws the foul, as he did very well to handle that through ball.
Not so sure it was a foul. I thought the Charleston Battery player got the ball. Let's have a look at that. Nice little interplay. Torres again, just showing that he's got good touch on the ball. As it comes to here, he just turns and puts that in. Now, MD Myers, does he win the ball? Or maybe goes through the back of the ankle. Yeah, I can see what the referee's saying. If you go through the back of the ankle, then it will be a free kick. That's a few times now in the last 5 to 10 minutes that Charleston Battery have got on the fringes of the box and just knocked little balls behind the back four that have created half chances. Is another possibility.
Early advantage gone. Dos Santos continues his run on the give and go with Gutierrez. Turnbull slides and it pays off for him. It does hit him last, and it's a corner coming for the Battery here in the 42nd minute. Scoreless between the two sides, starting to find a little bit more offensive rhythm after we saw just 2 shots in the opening half hour.
Some big boys there. Palmer's come up. Graham Smith is there. You've got MD Myers, Nick Markanik, all of them over 6 foot.
Corner kick belted in. Lee watches it trickle away. It's touched by the Battery.
They won the ball, just didn't get it on target.
Maybe the happiest group for halftime will be our camera workers. They've had to not only deal with the elements, they've had to try to keep the camera dry as well as the lens dry. Kudos to them here today.
And they're probably asking for a whiskey at halftime to keep warm.
Wins that ball cleanly. Will there be a first half goal between either of these sides? Fuson. Toe pokes it forward, and it works out well. Overlapping Turnbull. Hits it first time. All that convincingly, however. Gutierrez lays it back, and Dos Santos pitches it forward. Lynn gathers it right back. Ibarra swings wide. He stings this ball through. Torres, and it hit his hand. He was arguing that it didn't. That was a free kick for Rhode Island as they take it quickly. McGlynn. Holstad switches fields.
Oh, lovely cross-field pass that was.
Zara shut down. Pass nobody in particular. That is an unforced error there by Gutierrez and a throw for Rhode Island. Two balls on the field. Rhode Island will have to recycle this throw. Dequa gets it back. Dequa pounds it in there. Grinwis picks up the deadened ball with 1 minute plus stoppage time to go in the first. Can you explain what we've seen here through the first 44 minutes or so? A scoreless draw between these two sides.
Yeah, it's been good play in the middle of the park, very tight. I think Charleston Battery have probably created better chances in and around the fringes of the box. And yet if there is a chance for Rhode Island, you can almost guess that Albert Dick was involved. It's pretty even at this stage.
Rhode Island looking for that game changer here before halftime. Fuson. Glenn looks to turn it upfield.
Pressure again, Charleston Battery forcing the long ball, and they'll try and win it and get possession.
2 minutes of stoppage time here in the first half. Another foul given. Charleston averages 17 shots per match this season. They're stuck at 4 here in the first half.
I think that's credit to Rhode Island. They've defended really well after the debacle in the second half against Tampa Bay Rowdies. That's step number 1 in the recovery. Now it's a case of what can they do at the other end of the pitch. And other than Albert Dick, we haven't seen much from Fuson. Really hasn't impacted the game.
Well, McGlynn takes this ball away. Swings it to the right side of the yard. Turnbull flies it around. Foul whistled. Fuson makes contact with Juan Palma.
Good ball whipped in from out wide again. There's been quite a few from Stephen Turnbull. Been impressed with him out on this right here. Whips it in. But there's no point pushing and giving away the foul. Just hope that, you know, if you leave the player alone, maybe he misheads it. Maybe there's a chance for you to pounce on something. Quite a bit of changes that Connor Smith has got to make in terms of trying to get his attack into better areas, better final balls. There's been some decent crosses from the right, not too much from the left-hand side. But again, just to say, Stephen Turnbull has provided some really good opportunities from the right side. But all in all, if you're a neutral, what you want is a goal. So here's to the second half starting nice and bright with a goal from either side, whoever it might be.
There's your first half whistle. That's how we sit at the end of 45 minutes of play. A sloppy night, cold, rainy here at Burns Stadium. The two sides will try to get dried off and warmed up and Gary, we need to see a goal in the second half. How does it happen for one of these sides?
Well, they've got the opportunities around the fringes of the box. It's just getting that final ball into the box, and then when it has come along, Jackson Lee's made a decent save. Adam Grimwitz has come off his line quite bravely, but more opportunities, more shots, and eventually there will be a goal.
Scoreless at halftime between Charleston and Rhode Island. It's been a physical match. It's been a cold night. Missed opportunities between the two sides at times, but no score at halftime. Plenty to come during our halftime report, including a look at Gabby Alves. Hang with us as we come back to Rhode Island.
Hey Providence, we're Breeze Airways, and we offer non-stop flights from Rhode Island's T.F. Green International Airport. We're redefining what it means to fly up front. This one's for you. Introducing Breeze Ascent, the newest, nicest way to fly. It's seriously comfortable, satisfying, and affordable. Book today at flybreeze.com and experience the nicest way to travel. Breeze Airways, seriously nice.
When you make your play and things just go your way, that's a good play.
Since 1974, the Rhode Island Lottery has been a good play, awarding more than $57 billion to winning players, over $6 billion in commissions to local businesses, and over $8.8 billion to the general fund, supporting all of Rhode Island.
It's a really good play that can make your day.
The Rhode Island Lottery, a good play for Rhode Island for 50 years and counting.
At Ortho Rhode Island, we've built the future of orthopedic care around an important foundation, you. Our experienced surgeons and specialists offer the full spectrum of orthopedic care with leading-edge treatments and technology and a one-of-a-kind patient experience. From diagnosis to outpatient surgery, physical and occupational therapy, acute injury care, and advanced imaging, we make you the cornerstone of innovative care. To learn more or schedule an appointment, visit orthopedicsri.com.
What does purpose look like? Whatever your purpose, we're here to help. Centerville Bank. Progress on purpose.
Rhode Island and Charleston deadlocked at zeros at halftime. And it's time for our wicked good story as we focus the lens on Gabby Alves from Brazil to a national championship at Marshall to Rhode Island.
My name is Gabriel Alves. I'm from São Paulo, Brazil. I started just kicking the ball in my apartment when I was like 3 years old. I used to play soccer in the streets as well, barefoot like every soccer kid in Brazil does. I was playing a tournament and then I got the attention of São Paulo FC scouts throughout this journey on those academies. I was living by myself. I was living in a bedroom with 6 people. They weren't able to give me food or to give us food. Learn how not to take for granted everything I have today. My last team in Brazil called Água Santa, I was able to go up for the first team. That's when I decided to come to the US, but unfortunately my parents weren't good financially at that time, so I had to help my parents with money for the documentations, for the visa interview appointments. That first academy team that I played, São Roque Sports, helped me and invited me to work there. I helped coaching the kids. I cut the grass sometimes even cleaning the bathrooms, just so I could save up money and help my parents with all the bills and stuff. I had like a couple of close people and even close family members that made fun of my parents and even me that we weren't going to be able to accomplish this dream of coming to study and play here in the US because we didn't have money. I trust God a lot and I trust the process, and I was fortunate and blessed to get a full scholarship and everything worked out. Go to Marshall and start my spring season. I won a national championship in my first year. I'm the first in my family to graduate in college and also in another country. I'm so blessed that I met the love of my life. Her family was amazing. We Brazilians were very close to our family, so not having my family here But having them, they gave me all the support I need. I feel like soccer, for my perspective, coming from Brazil, it's like a religion, we say there. It feels like you're part of a whole nation of fans, and you have to make them proud. I'm going to fight for every ball. That's how Brazilian players are.
Two most important days in your life are the day you are born and the day you find out why.
Yeah, trick. I said what I said. I don't care. I paint the town red.
If you can survive this, it's going to make the whole story that much better.
The bright horses have broken free from the fields.
They're hungry for the women's game. They want to see women's soccer. They want to play women's soccer, and that's what we're building at the USL.
You can see it in my eyes, only want the best. And you riding every night, I won't settle for less. Got me looking to the sky, got me feeling blessed. Got this fire burning up inside of my chest. Burning up inside of my chest. Got this fire burning up inside of my chest.
Pain doesn't care who you are or why you hurt, but pain can be mastered if you know the way. Fight back with Tiger Balm's legendary herbal power. Trusted for over 100 years, our proven blend of camphor, menthol, and essential oils tames pain with the strength and speed of the tiger, so that you can rise above pain and get back to living. This is the way of the tiger.
Shakes. Malloy! Oh, what a debut goal! Charleston rolling it home. Serrano scores! There's the dagger! Louisville all 3 points!
History is made in Rhode Island.
Congratulations, Rhode Island FC, for achieving the dream and making this a reality.
Rhode Island FC, the Ocean State's only professional soccer team, has kicked off its historic inaugural season.
This is going to be a spectacle to enjoy.
Rhode Island on the board!
Don't miss your chance to be a part of the action. Family 4-packs are now available starting at just $80. Get your tickets today.
The future is bright for Rhode Island FC.
A rainy night at Burns Stadium in Smithfield, Rhode Island. Not keeping the fans away to watch this Rhode Island team play at home for just the second time and first time in 21 days. What's going on around the rest of the USL? Well, the Lamar Hunt US Open Cup is into the 3rd round, so that means USL Championship teams are in there. 16 of them in total. And the 3rd round will take place April 16th and 17th. Be sure now to go to USLChampionship.com. You can vote for the March Player of the Month nominees. Last week's Player of the Week, Maxi Rodriguez, an assist and a game-winning goal against Indy 11. Some of the scores from today so far: Detroit City takes down North Carolina as they get the own goal in the 9th minute, and that proves to be the difference in that one. How about our CBS Showcase matchup? Lou City gets a hat trick from Wilson Harris. It's a back and forth, high-scoring affair, and Lou City wins it by a 5-3 margin. Pittsburgh has limited Tampa Bay to 3 shots, but neither side has scored so far. Mention the Lamar Hunt US Open Cup. Well, Rhode Island will make their debut, and they'll face off against the USL League One side in Charlotte Independence. That'll be April 16th, so 10 days from now at 7 p.m. That will take place in the Tar Heel State. More USL Championship versus League One matchups. About that right corner, Northern Colorado Hailstorm surviving a late scare against Colorado Rapids 2 and winning it in deep into extra time to take down the MLS Next Pro side. For Rhode Island, here's what's on tap. Mentioned the U.S. Open Cup match. That's something that they have to focus on in there during that road trip. But after this, it'll be a Pittsburgh Riverhounds team that's licking its wounds after winning the Players' Shield in the regular season last year, and then we'll be back to North Carolina at the end of that stretch to take on North Carolina FC on May 4th. That's what's going on for Rhode Island coming up. However, when we get back, we'll take a look at the first half highlights and stats, and the second half will kick off when we return here to Rhode Island.
At Ortho Rhode Island, we've built the future of orthopedic care around an important foundation, you. Our experienced surgeons and specialists offer the full spectrum of orthopedic care with leading-edge treatments and technology and a one-of-a-kind patient experience. From diagnosis to outpatient surgery, physical and occupational therapy, acute injury care, and advanced imaging, we make you the cornerstone of innovative care. To learn more or schedule an appointment, visit orthopedicsri.com.
Hey Providence, we're Breeze Airways, and we offer non-stop flights from Rhode Island's T.F. Green International Airport. We're redefining what it means to fly up front. This one's for you. Introducing Breeze Ascent, the newest, nicest way to fly. It's seriously comfortable, satisfying, and affordable. Book today at flybreeze.com and experience the nicest way to travel. Breeze Airways, seriously nice.
What does purpose look like? Whatever your purpose, we're here to help. Centerville Bank. Progress on purpose.
When you make your play and things just go your way, that's a good play.
Since 1974, the Rhode Island Lottery has been a good play, awarding more than $57 billion to winning players, over $6 billion in commissions to local businesses, and over $8.8 billion to the general fund, supporting all of Rhode Island.
It's a really good play that can make your day.
The Rhode Island Lottery, a good play for Rhode Island for 50 years and counting.
We're at halftime. Rhode Island's second home match of the season, getting a Charleston team that'll be well-traveled to begin this 2024 campaign. It took a little bit for both teams to get into the match. We finally got some shots there at the tail end of the first half as we glide through the first half highlights in this one. And Gary, there weren't a lot necessarily to have, but in the 5th minute, it was a very physical start to this match, and Charleston had their first opportunity with Markanek taking a swing from long distance.
Yeah, it was worth a try to see what happens off this tricky surface. Aaron Malloy winning that ball in the turnover. And then on the other end, Rhode Island, they also applied a little bit of pressure. Some good balls coming from wide. Clay Holstead there, putting it into the danger. Goalkeeper Adam Grimmers just waits, and that allows Albert Dickwer the option to try and get in front of him. In the end, he's a split second too late and hits the goalkeeper. Fortunately, both players came out of it without a serious injury.
First real good chance of this one came off of a break. Juan David Torres able to get this ball on a through ball. It's excellent work by Charleston, but Jackson Lee with a denial.
Yeah, good save from Jackson Lee. Juan David Torres thought that was in. He goes to celebrate, and then he just grabs his head and thinks, oh no, I thought it was sneaking in that far post.
That was the best chance on the first half for either side. Rhode Island didn't get its first shot attempt until the 38th minute. Here's your stats, 8 total shots. Charleston, who leads the league in possession, again, leading the way in that area. The biggest story, I think, overall is the yellow cards for Rhode Island. 4 different players picking up 1 in the first half.
Yeah, 4 players. You have to be extremely careful, as does the one with the yellow card for Charleston Battery. For expected goals, to give you an idea of how tight this first half has been, 0.07 for the home side, 0.2 for Charleston Battery. Between them, 0.27, a quarter of a goal in 45 minutes. Not very exciting and entertaining, but very tight. Hopefully we get something more in the second half.
These fans are the winners of the Seriously Nice seat upgrade presented by Breeze Airways. Every match for lucky fans have provided a premium match day experience courtesy of Breeze Airways, a proud partner of Rhode Island FC. Well, you had to pop out at halftime to maybe get something warm to drink, try to dry off just a little bit. And we'll see how the second half turns out. Maybe the players are able to find a little bit of warmth at halftime. Doesn't look like the rain is that bad here in the second half, but for their sake and for all of our crew's sake, I hope that it doesn't pick up the rest of the way here. 45 more minutes to go. Will we get a goal? Both of these sides have been stingy in the first half. Only one time each side has allowed a first half goal this season. Rhode Island gets the opening possession here of half number 2 as we start things off here in a scoreless game, looking for our first goal of the night. Well, the first time that Rhode Island was on this field, it took until stoppage time, the second minute, to get the first goal in club history. They originally gave it to Mark Doyle and then went back and decided that it was an own goal.
Mind you, he nearly scored a couple of minutes later, didn't he?
He did, yeah. They hit a couple crossbars in that one. Probably unlucky to walk away with just the point. But here, will there be similar late drama? Michael Watring and Gary Bailey with you. Delighted to have you on board with us tonight. Hope you're warm and dry, unlike those watching the match here.
And that was the feeling from Ben Pearman about this Rhode Island side. They could have won that opening game, but for a great save, I think, from Tambakis in the dying moments. They got a great draw on the road at Monterey Bay. One of the longest trips that's ever going to be seen in the USL is from Rhode Island all the way across there to the west coast. They got a good draw there, and the first half against Tampa Bay, they were 1-0 up. So you ignore that second half, it really has been an impressive start to the season from this new Rhode Island side.
Connor Smith echoing that. 5 pretty solid halves of football. Just one really poor one. And they seemingly corrected it in that first half against the team that has produced the most shots in the league this far, having held them to just a quarter of their typical game output. Dequa hustling on. Grinwis comes out. It would not have mattered in the end with the flag being up on the far side for offside. And Grinwis perhaps getting a little bit of revenge in the end after Dequa took him out earlier. It's this time the Charleston keeper's turn.
It's still brave goalkeeping, though. You're taking someone out with your hands and your head basically right nearby. And once again, he's in a good position. He's just offside, Albert Duca, but he does threaten so much. Have a look at the goalkeeper. He's got to throw his hands and head right into the danger area there, but he's been solid and brave, has Adam Grinwis. And as we said, first half, all the threat for Rhode Island coming from Albert Dequa.
Dequa has 7 of the team's 16 shots on target this season through the first 3 games. Here's a man that could carry some of that load, Noah Fuson. Former MLS Next Pro champion with Columbus Crew 2. Here's it to the right side. Another good switch of field here. Zara slings it in. Dequa the closest target. Mara wanted the second ball. MD Myers comes back to get it. You have to credit what Rhode Island's defense did. Very rarely did we talk about MD Myers, who's a great goal scorer, has been in every stop in his career. Nick Markanek has been red hot, scoring goals in 6 of his last 10. But they really haven't gotten a lot of opportunities here.
They haven't yet. There's a second half to come, and we've seen how second halves can change for both sides. Normally, though, for Charleston, second halves are good because they have a lot of gas in their tank. They really work hard and they wear teams down. As we saw Tampa Bay, second half not necessarily good for Rhode Island, although you can tell me if I'm wrong, the second half on their opening day was pretty good.
It was really good. Really good, and the atmosphere was absolutely boisterous. Great atmosphere as always here at Burns Stadium.
Just to also mention, they're without their #1 goalkeeper, Koke Vegas, their first signing, and he really is a good goalkeeper. No Grant Stoneman, no JJ Williams, no Karifa Yao. So some crucial regular starters missing for Rhode Island.
Goes to the credit of Connor Smith, the fact that he's been able to keep this team cohesive at the start of the year. Talked about it at the outset, just 2 points so far this season. Never want to look too much at the standings at that point, but certainly on the bright side, you walk away with 3 points out of this one, boom, you're right back into the top 5 in the East. Alves, we heard from at halftime. Dequa, Fuson instead. Slide tackle ends up working out pretty well. Guizera is does he elect to go? Was looking for Fuson. Koenig. Onto it long enough, now turns. Stabs it forward. Myers, Torres. Just like that, Charleston into the attacking half. Torres cannot stop that ball.
MD Myers made a good run. I thought the ball would have come to him. When it does come to Torres, it's behind him. But Fuson there, we maybe mentioned first half, he didn't do too much. Starts off the second half, the ball gets played behind him. I'm looking at the bench at Prince Sadie, Mark Doyle, and thinking, I don't think Fuson's got more than about 10 minutes to impress Connor Smith. Otherwise, he might get pulled and replaced. If you're the coach, you're looking for somebody to break the deadlock, and Fuson hasn't really had any impact on the Charleston Battery defense.
Kaza. Segbers shovels it along. Malloy pokes it right back. Segbers continues his run. Torres shoots. And a one-hopper right into the chest. And again, Lee decisive with his catch.
That was that combination again that beat Miami. Torres with a shot. MD Myers following up this time. Bo Jackson Lee was the goalkeeper who held on to it. Last week, the Miami goalkeeper Gagliardi pushed it out, and MD Myers was there to score the winner.
Foul whistle here. Who goes down.
Once again, Dick with the protagonist, always winning free kicks, causing problems for the Charleston Battery defense, and Ben Pearman picked him out and said, he's the guy we've got to keep quiet, no doubt about it whatsoever. A little bit of a follow through there from Juan Palmer.
Right in front of the supporters group. Lauren Quizera. Zara hence sends it in. Always punches at this one. It comes down. The leg swings from Brito, and it skies over the top of the crossbar.
That's a hard one from Brito. That ball's bouncing quite high, and it's difficult to get over the ball. Grimm was doing well to punch. Just felt there were too many bodies there to catch it. And there, Brito just couldn't quite get enough dip on that ball. Couldn't get over it. It's not the easiest of strikes.
Ricochet ends up at the feet of Gutierrez.
Just looking at the expected goals of Charleston Battery, it's been higher than the opposition in every one of the games they've played so far, including this, so their fifth game. It just shows you they are able to create more chances than the opposition, which is why obviously they've had 2 wins and 2 draws. It's always a problem for Rhode Island because this team keep going right up until the end of games. So there's still some defending to do for the home team, I would suggest.
There's a ball out wide. Just not hit that well in the end. It over. Does come back out. Fuson commits the foul. doesn't love that call. Joshua Encarnacion here about it.
There wasn't much in it, but it's just defender being clever, going down. One Palmer there gets the contact, goes down. Most referees are going to give that when the defender falls to the ground on the edge of his box.
Select, the official match ball supplier, the USL Championship and many elite leagues throughout Europe. Visit us.select-sport.com for the latest Select product specials and more. Select, the player's choice. Trying to gain the edge, Markanik. Ben Pierman said he runs about 8 miles every match. Runs that one all the way to the end to ensure that it's a corner kick for the Battery.
We mentioned subs for Rhode Island. Just wonder what Ben Pierman's thinking, looking at Jake LaCarver on the bench, Chris Allen, quality players, maybe thinking, do I freshen things up? Bring some players who have all the energy, maybe a different approach to see if we can break down this Rhode Island defense. Both managers got to be thinking of changes soon.
Malloy hurls this one in. Torres again was hovering over the top, waiting to pounce. Setting things, swinging it to the right-hand slide. A slicing ball. Dikwa has won the initial race against Segbers. Now flies it in. Empty header. Turnbull denied. Grinwis read it the entire way. Excellent transition from Rhode Island, but still without the goal.
That's a lovely ball in. It's a great ball here initially. Then the ball in from Dikwa is excellent. Head up. He's looking for options when it comes back here. Great diving header from Turnbull, and he must have thought it's on target going in the corner. But Grinwis, as you say, had read it and got his body there. But nice play from Rhode Island.
That's the best looking play that we've seen all night from Rhode Island. Springing it forward against this Charleston defense. eFootball 2024 is here. Live your dream. Rep your team and play as your favorite USL Championship club. eFootball is free to play. Download now. Myers slides it forward. Flag though up. Offside the infraction against the front line of Gutierrez.
That's another decent save we saw a minute ago from Grinwis. By the way, he has 2 clean sheets, a clean sheet today. I think he's clear at the top. He is the joint leader coming into the weekend for clean sheets. Given how many goals have been scored in other games, he could very well lead on his own if the Battery can keep a clean sheet here today.
Entered the day with 3 saves and 2 clean sheets. Not a lot of activity for the Charleston keeper. Now, of course, I jinxed it. The rain starting to come down harder and harder after it looked like it had cooled off at halftime, but apparently Mother Nature has their eyes set on this field. When the players are out there, the rain is coming down hard.
The fans are still there. Still hanging in, showing their support. Absolutely amazing.
Torres knocks that ball down. Malloy. Like it hit Fusson's arm, and indeed it did. What a story this could be if Rhode Island wins tonight. The fans they could talk about. I remember that first win. It was pouring down rain. It was in the high 30s. And we took down the reigning Eastern Conference champions. A half hour to go in this one. You know Charleston that hasn't lost a match in regulation in its last 9. Has its longest unbeaten string since August to September of 2020. 9 in a row dating back to last October. Torres might be the one that curls this ball around the back line. That left foot. And he wants it. Torres decides to shoot. Handled initially well by Lee. He pokes it away, and a foul given.
It's not a bad free kick, because under these conditions, and we spoke about it at the start of the match, nothing wrong with tipping a ball in front of a keeper and saying, can you read the skip off the turf? If you can't, we're going to follow in, and you see the white shirts all running in to see if the goalkeeper drops it. Can they get there first? Just scoops it away, does Jackson Lee. We did mention the yellow cards as well going into halftime. 5 of them, 4 for Rhode Island. Just seems that both sets of players have been probably lectured at halftime about keeping it cool. We haven't seen any crazy tackles, pushing and shoving. It got a little bit chippy first half. I'm sure Connor Smith, with all his experience as a player, has said, look guys, don't get drawn into it, don't get anybody sent off, just keep your cool.
60th minute of play, Rhode Island and Charleston scoreless. You're on a rainy day. This is a Rhode Island team that in their first match at home this season had an absolute onslaught at the end of the match, getting the goal in 90+2 and nearly getting the winner a few moments after that. It has been a team that has shown the ability to hang around in matches and to find goals late in those matches.
Who wins the free kick? Dikwa again. Such a wily, clever player. Just needs a bit of support up front, and so far it hasn't come from Fuson. It might come from Mark Doyle or Prince Sadie if they get a chance to come on at some stage.
Their side has made a change so far. It does appear as if Charleston is preparing to make their first. This ball trickles through the box, goes out for a goal kick.
Not only are our cameramen soaking wet, now it seems as if the camera's soaking wet as well.
Torres bumped off it, and Torres is called for the foul. Charleston has 2 subs coming on. It is Jake LaCava, as well as Chris Allen, a pair of under 20 players, replacing Diego Gutierrez and Emilio Icaza.
Those are exactly the 2 I expected to come on. Such good players, clever player Jake LaCava up front, and of course Chris Allen. This is ideal conditions for him. He's a midfield dynamo, gets stuck in, sprays the ball about. They could have a really positive effect here on this Charleston Battery side. And I would guess that Connor Smith will respond with his changes very shortly.
Allen, one of those players that played with Ben Pierman in Memphis in 2022. Pierman was the USL Championship Coach of the Year, and LaCava has great experience with Red Bulls 2, as well as Tampa Bay and Inter Miami 2 last season. Markanek. He's tangled up there, a foul whistled. No more than that. We had 5 bookings in the first half. None so far here in half number 2 through the first 18 minutes or so. Flag up here for offside. Shots continue to be at a premium in this one, albeit Charleston have put 4 of their 6 on target so far today. Under pressure, Grinwis sends it away, keeps it in play for Segbers. Fuson intercepts. Ibarra twirls. Alves stings it along the sideline. And the flag up. Zara offside.
If you're Charleston Battery away at Rhode Island, maybe a 0-0 draw is not a bad result. Now they've got 2 wins and 2 draws already. They've had some really tough games. They've been away to Miami last match, They beat New Mexico at home. They drew 1-1 at Oakland Roots, and they drew at North Carolina. So this will be their fourth of 5 games all away from home. You get the draw out of this. I don't think Ben Pym will be most upset with that.
One thing that Ben Pierman did tell us, he said that despite the fact that they're #1 in the league in terms of possession numbers, kind of unintentional, didn't expect to do that, not necessarily something that they worked on. They want to use their possession to create high-level attacks. The shots on target number would certainly showcase that. And still haven't necessarily had as many quality chances as they have through their first 4 matches. Unleashing things on this left-hand side. Quizera. Flood of white jerseys and blue jerseys as well. Fuson tried to leap to grab it. Markanik winds up with the second ball. Dikwa for the pilfer. Alves slides it forward. Good touching with these passes. Crisp. McGlynn throws it through. Fine first touch. The shot pings off the crossbar. Second chance opportunity. Flies wide. And nearly, yet again, a crossbar in the way of Rhode Island.
Oh, it's a great shot. I think it's from Joe Brito. We can have a closer look there, but nice build-up. Ball gets whipped in from Connor McGlynn. Brito takes it. It comes off a deflection. I think that probably was on target, and then I think Juan Palmer just gets a foot to deflect it onto the crossbar. Let's have a look here as he lets rip there. Yeah, there's the deflection onto the crossbar. Good defending from Charleston Battery, and a lovely attack from Brito and Rhode Island.
Well, what Ben Pierman did not want was to give this Rhode Island team a sense of belief. But here in the 67th minute, you know that Rhode Island has that and more with the fans behind them on a rainy night and confidence starting to swell for the home side.
Darcy with a bit of blood on the nose, so it seems. So he has to exit the pitch and clean up. Given how tough they've been at home, Rhode Island, I don't think Pittsburgh are going to be looking forward to coming here to Byrne Stadium, especially if the rain is like this.
Markanik, a little bit off balance there, tosses it wide.
Mind you, Pittsburgh is probably used to some unusual weather. It's also a pitch that teams don't know. If you go to regular opposition, if you go to Pittsburgh and you've been going there for 4 or 5 years, you've got a pretty much a good idea of what Highmark Stadium's like. But this, for most teams, I assume, is a new pitch, a new condition, a new crowd, something you're not quite used to, and that can be difficult to sort of settle into. You don't know what to expect from the opposition if you're Charleston Battery.
Pittsburgh with a strong defensive performance today against Tampa, limiting the Rowdies to 7 shots and an XG of .39, but just 12 shots, 1 on target for a Riverhound side that is looking for any kind of goal scoring. They've scored just once this year, and with Albert Dikwa, the league's Golden Boot winner last season here in Rhode Island, Riverhound's still looking for that goal scoring prowess.
They lost a crucial player. The year before, they lost Russell Cicerone and Alex Dixon. And if you keep losing players like that, no matter, even if you have a fantastic coach with that, which they do, eventually you're going to find yourself in trouble. Pittsburgh are. Colorado Springs let a lot of their top players go, and now they're in trouble as well.
Rhode Island switches fields. They have perhaps eyes in a build-up here. First time ball sent in. Lofted off of the redirect. Fortunately for Charleston, taken away, and then McGlynn commits the foul. A booking here as well. It's going to be a second yellow for Connor McGlynn in the 70th minute, and Rhode Island will be down to 10 men.
Yep, we said as much. Don't get the first yellow, because it's a little bit tough, to be fair. They both went for the ball. Maybe it's a yellow. Let's have a look at it, but you don't want to give the referee the option, and it's well-headed clear here. It bounces, both players go for the ball. The thing with Conor McGlynn, and actually I do now see, I think it's a yellow. He doesn't go for the ball. He turns his body, turns his shoulder. Look at it bounce. He doesn't even go to head the ball. He just follows him with the shoulder. So absolutely a yellow card. And on its own, it's fine, but if you've already got a yellow, you cannot do that. And we spoke about it, just managing these yellows, and it looked up until then that both sides were managing their yellows very well, but that could swing the match against Rhode Island.
Well, that was something that we knew would be a dangerous situation for Rhode Island. Connor Smith elected not to bring any of the 4 players that picked up a first half red card off of the field. And Conor McGlynn, who had the chance to wear the captain's armband here today with Koke Vegas out, gets his 2nd yellow card, and Rhode Island down to 10 men.
And it becomes in-game management when you're on a yellow card, and I'm sure as he did it, Conor McGlynn, he thought, oh no, what have I done? Because as you're going into that conflict, you've got to think, I'm on a yellow, so let me just stand back. Let him hit the ball on the edge of his box. I mean, what's the problem? I'll pick it up 25, 26 yards out. But it's in-game management. It's got to be in the back of your mind all the time. I'm on a yellow, don't do anything silly. I'm on a yellow, don't slide tackle. And it's easy to forget in the heat of the moment, and now he's paid the price, Conor McGlynn.
How does Rhode Island perform now for the final 20 minutes of this match? Down to 10 men. Been so good in the first hour of matches all season long. It's been the second half and late going. Well, they've run into some speed bumps. Charleston have eyes now for goal. Torres whips that ball in, takes a ricochet. Markanek hits the side of the bar. Flag was down. He was onside. He was in a dangerous location as well.
Wow, he's not far off. I'm thinking hook it back to MD Myers. MD Myers is just waiting for a pass here. Have a look at the number 9, just pull it back to him, but Markanek turns, and he was only inches away from sneaking that in the top corner.
Just the 4th shot of the second half. Still half of the typical season output for Charleston. The USL Championship is on CBS Sports and ESPN platforms all season long. Catch live matches and expert analysis every day on the CBS Sports Golasso Network and ESPN Plus. Go to USLChampionship.com for the complete USL TV listings.
Interesting, no changes yet for Conor Smith. With 10 men, you'd think maybe some fresh legs just to help with the extra burden of running. Maybe someone up front like a Mark Doyle who can get goals, especially from set pieces and headers. So I think a change should come fairly soon.
Nadarse brings it down inside of the box. Markanek, fans asking for a handball. And Markanek there, still clamoring for one. Fuson. This ball laid perfectly. Dikwa brings it back. Dikwa with choices. Had no Darce, instead threw it right through the 6-yard box. This ball given away. Zera sends it wide. Dikwa spins it off a Charleston defender, and a corner kick oncoming now for Rhode Island.
Plenty of noise from the crowd. They've really been into this match. Having their say, giving their team a whole bunch of support. We've been calling for subs, and it seems for Rhode Island, it seems that maybe they're getting some ready at last.
Couple changes. Standing by the fourth official that'll take place right now. Kofi Chumesi, the 27-year-old from Ghana, replaces Noah Fuson. And Colin Smith, the 20-year-old defender out of Jacksonville, Florida, replaces Jojea Quizera.
It seems more of a defensive change, so I wonder if Colin Smith has decided, you know what, we'll take the point under the circumstances. I was expecting to see Mark Doyle on or Prince Sadie to go for the win, but perhaps Colin Smith feels that a point under the circumstances against the team that won the Eastern Championship might be a decent point.
Juan Palma, the extra looking at by the training staff. So he's going to have to come out for this corner kick, so the sides will be even numbers-wise. Alan Archer is coming into the match.
He's coming back from injury, Leyland Archer, and Coach Ben Pearman saying, I don't want to start with him, but if needed, I will bring him off the bench. Well, he is needed.
He replaces Palma, who comes out, so no longer that advantage. Mark Ibarra stands on the corner flag. Rhode Island looks for a moment of magic. Ibarra swings this one into the 18-yard box. Initial ball sent away. Smith lofts it back in. Volley opportunity from Turnbull, turned away. Bounces out. Deke with a target of this throw in. Allen sends it deep. Now to get it is Jackson Lee. Now we get another whistle. Another Battery player is down. Looks like MD Myers.
Everyone telling the referee how to do his job. Just wonder now if you're Charleston Battery and you've got the extra player, you just keep more and more possession. You've got the extra player to play to. You can get overloads in crucial areas. Let's have a look here. This ball just played out of defense, and just the coming together of two players there. MD Myers goes down. But with the extra player, Charleston Battery have that ability to hold possession and make Rhode Island chase them a little bit more. And the rain seems to have also stopped for the moment, so the players can focus on playing the ball a little bit more easily on the ground.
A foul given. That is certainly something that you can ill afford. As Jake LaCava comes back and commits that foul and gives Rhode Island perhaps an opportunity here.
He just gets a little bit too close. He bumps once, bumps twice, and the thing is, it doesn't mean there's a lot of contact, but Turnbull very clever to feel the contact and go down, gets a free kick in a very good position. Now body's down in the box.
That was Alves.
Some players feel if the referee sent a player off on one side, he becomes susceptible to sending off a player on the other side. So
Ibarra pounds this one in. Smith. Springing forward now. Work by Brito. Brito getting to that right foot. Another Hard collision. Torres called for the foul this time. Doesn't appear to be a booking.
I think just the coming together of bodies. See Rhode doing really well there on the ball. Yeah, just a sort of bumping one David Torres perhaps stepping into his path, but again, not really worthy of a yellow, you wouldn't think.
Mara looking for potency with this cross. 81st minute, scoreless game. Ibarra boomerangs to the back post. Flicked in, Dikwa was close. Scissor kick coming in, and that was always wide. Does go out for just a throw in the end and not a goal kick.
It's interesting, isn't it, when Connor Smith made the changes of bringing on Chumesi and Colin Smith, you're thinking, okay, he's going a bit more defensive. Well, they've been more the aggressors. They haven't got strikers in the box, but they've got lots of strong bodies in there, and they've managed to lock Charleston Battery pretty much in their own half for the last 5 to 10 minutes.
Down to 10 men. Rhode Island entered this match having given up the most goals in the league this season. Looking to see this one out, perhaps steal a full complement of points here tonight. With Gary Bailey and our entire crew, I'm Michael Watrang, buckling up for the finish line of this one. This ball trickles back, Dikwa chases, Grinwis. Olstead back. Shots for the match sit at 8-7 in favor of Charleston, 4-1 on target. Battery just 52% possession, having come into this one with no fewer than 54% in any match this year for the #1 team in the league at the outset of this season.
And expected goals, 0.18 for the home side, 0.35 for Charleston Battery. Together, they barely have half a goal to their name. So it really has been a really solid defensive performance. If you're a defensive coach, you're loving it. If you're an attacking coach, you're hating it. If you're a neutral, you wish there was a goal.
Malloy throws this through. Torres was hoping for it from Myers. Instead, Rhode Island dodges that sequence.
If you're Connor Smith after the second half at Tampa Bay, you're probably thinking, I'm very happy with the defensive duties of my team. And if you're Ben Pearman away from home on a pitch you never played on before in difficult conditions against quite a talented new team, you probably go, well, I'll take that defensive performance on the road. So maybe at the end of the day, we'll find that both coaches are reasonably happy.
And in the conditions as well, Ben Pearman knew that this would be perhaps an ugly night in Smithfield, Rhode Island, with the rain and the cold weather. A foul given there. Ill-advised in the end. Dos Santos tumbles. Malloy wants to go quick and will indeed do so. Segbers. Marcanic. Dos Santos called for a handball. Ball just took a high skip right up into his body.
Yeah, just when he had all the bodies in the box waiting for a cross. It's frustrating for Dos Santos. Man from Pittsburgh was a regular for Bob Lilly there, and that's another reason why Pittsburgh are struggling. They've lost defenders, they've lost Albert Dikwa, they've lost midfielders. And yet Bob Lilly will somehow get them to the playoffs once again, almost certainly as he's done every single season.
Koenig looks it forward, and a foul on Nodarse, who also is on a yellow card, has to be careful.
Yeah, as he went to argue with the ref put up his hand and he suddenly went quiet and ran back to his place. Will there be some last 5-minute drama? It'd be heartbreak for either side if they were to lose it, because they've both put in a real shift here under trying conditions.
There's space on that sideline. Santos brings it in, flies it across. LaCava nods it along. Burrito gets it off of the hand of Chris Allen. That'll allow Rhode Island to reset. Smith has added a hat. Still has the big coat on.
Discussing with the fourth official. I think every coach believes it's their job to tell the fourth official what they're doing wrong. I don't think I've ever seen a coach who hasn't had or given a lecture to the fourth official.
Comes over. Turnbull offs into space. Burrito the closest to it. Now he turns it away. Despite being down to 10 men, this is the most confident Rhode Island have looked with the ball. LaCava breaks away from the pack. It's a rumbling run. Darce eventually shuts it down. Myers commits the foul. Ben Pierman still without the hat, not going with hood up either.
And he's also lecturing one of the officials as to how to referee the game. I think he's got to be reasonably happy with his team. Mind you, with the fact they're a player up, he's probably thinking, you know what, we could go on and win this. Let's get the ball in the box. Let's test them. And as you say, credit to Rhode Island. They've been pretty solid. Haven't given much away, even with 10 men.
Koenig. Instead.
Just wonder whether a Prince Sadie or a Mark Doyle might have been somebody who had the ability to break down the Charleston Battery defense, but the converse argument is you put strikers on and then you lose the battle in midfield. So again, Connor Smith being sensible, making sure they don't give anything away, first priority, and if they can sneak something at the other end, that would be a bonus.
There's 2 minutes to go, plus any stoppage time. First home match of the season. So Rhode Island get a late equalizer in the 2nd minute of stoppage time. Something similar happened tonight. 3 weeks to the day of the first match. Flag is up for offside. Digua took a lot of contact from Dos Santos. Archer throws this ball all the way through. Torres, once again, Jackson Lee has the response as Torres just cannot find an empty seam against the keeper.
Yeah, one of those rare moments where the defense were opened up on either side. A little dummy there, he's in. Juan David Torres, who plays at this side. He could have bent it the other angle. He goes for the near post instead, and once again, as you say, Jackson Lee, nice and sharp, gets down, makes a vital save.
Jackson Lee with his 5th save of the match. Injury here will have a stoppage in play for just a moment.
Akibara telling the referee again how to do his job. I think it gets to the point one day where referees will just say, no one talk to me, because everyone's just trying to bend every referee's ear and try and get them to obviously give decisions in their way. And now Dikwa's come along to have his discussion. So we'll look and see what happened here. There's a clash of heads, and Malloy goes down. And I think from a referee's point of view, once you see someone grab their head immediately, you've got to stop the game. So why the argument from the other players? Not 100% sure. Sometimes they reckon it's because you're trying to slow the game down and play for time, but I'm not so sure Charleston Battery want to play for time. They're the ones who possibly have the best chance of winning, seeing they have the extra player.
5 minutes of stoppage time. Chances for either side perhaps to steal a winner away here this evening. Ball ends up backwards to be picked up. So there will be a change for Rhode Island, and it will be Mark Doyle replacing Dikwa in the 11. Doyle was initially credited the first goal in club history. It later be changed to an own goal in that opening match that pulled out a draw against New Mexico. Here's Mark Koenig. Markanek resettles, throws it in. Myers heads! What another denial by Lee, having the best game of his career. Now a volley from outside. Malloy shoves it over the top of the bar. How about the performance tonight from Jackson Lee, the 22-year-old from Australia?
That's another fantastic save, isn't it? Quick reflexes, the ball comes in, good cross, good header, and he gets that right hand to the ball. It's a fantastic header from MD Myers. He puts a little bit of extra juice on it, and the goalkeeper's super quick reaction just palms it out. You can see Segba's hands on head, thought that was going in the back of the net.
Here's Brito. Rhode Island looks for a stunner. Brito just a tad too much on that touch. Final couple minutes in this one. Alves maneuvers around, flips it forward. Smith, in the end, too hefty on that one.
If Rhode Island do get the draw here, it'll be 3 draws out of 4, which in theory sounds pretty good, but it's only 3 points. It leaves them still in 11th position out of 12.
Myers unable to latch onto that ball.
But for Jackson Lee, could very well be only 2 points, because he certainly has kept them in this match.
Jackson Lee with 6 saves in this match.
But a frustrating sort of situation where one bad half against Tampa Bay and you're sitting at the bottom of the, or near the bottom of the table, when in theory you should be somewhere in the middle, given how well Rhode Island have played. Conversely, the Battery will go joint third alongside Hartford if this result stays, unbeaten, and having played 4 of those matches away from home.
Time against both sides now to find a winner. Fairly evenly matched. Rhode Island against the reigning Eastern Conference champions. Perhaps one more chance for the Battery if they can hold on to possession, having had the man advantage for the last 25 minutes.
And if you look at the teams that Rhode Island has played, New Mexico are near the top in the West. Ooh, trouble.
LaCava flies this one all the way across. There's nobody making that back post run.
Just to finish that thought, New Mexico near the top, Orange County are top. Tampa Bay will be near the top. Charleston were top last season, so it's been a really tough start.
Lee cradles this ball. Pretty fitting here at the end of this one. Likely the last moment, maybe a chance for one more. Long boot down the yard, but fitting that he is the man with the ball in his hands and then at his feet to end this one with a strong performance in this one. No sign of a whistle. Charleston playing long balls down the field. Lee more than willing to grab these. Myers forces Lee to pick it up into the 7th minute of stoppage time. Had a minimum of 5. Malloy. A foul given here. And it will be a booking as well. Too messy. Goes in the books. Charleston sends everybody forward. 8th minute of stoppage time. High arcing ball, flicked into the 18. Holstead knuckles it in. It's loose. Markanic doesn't get the angle. Does get a corner, however, in the end.
Oh, that was a good chance here for Charleston Battery, just waiting for that to drop at someone's feet 6 yards out. And cramp, and probably at the right time. Stephen Turnbull just probably thinking that they need to organize themselves before the end of this match. Maybe he has cramp, but you can never tell these days, but certainly if he hasn't, it's a very good time to go down with suspect a cramp, just to make sure that everybody else takes that moment to get fully organized, because you know this is probably going to be the last kick of the match.
Despite being down to 10 men, Rhode Island has fought. Charleston looks to take the 3 points. Boomeranging ball in, we get a foul whistled, and no chance for the Battery to find a winner in that sequence. And almost assuredly now, you would think that this would be the end of the line. And there is your full-time whistle. Rhode Island survives and takes another point here at home against the reigning Eastern Conference champions. The two coaching friends meet at midfield, and Gary, in this one, Rhode Island had some chances. Remember, they hit the crossbar in the 66th minute. Have to be pleased with the defensive performance tonight after last week.
Oh, absolutely. Jackson Lee, fantastic, made some crucial saves. Defensively tight at the back, and well done to Nadase, Gabby Alves, Clay Holstead, all of those who did the defensive work. They were down to 10 men for what was it, 20-odd minutes at the end after Conor McGlynn got sent off, and all of this played in very difficult weather conditions, and a very good point on the road for Charleston Battery. So I think all in all, a lot of good to find in this match. The only thing missing, of course, a goal and a bit of excitement in terms of the ball hitting the back of the net, but otherwise, good defensive performance from both sets of players.
Jackson Lee is our man of the match, and time for our play of the match here this evening. And it comes through the rain. The energy play of the match comes right here. Turnbull nearly found an empty space. That was such a good opportunity to put one in.
Yeah, lovely ball in, great header. He thinks it's going in. He can't believe the goalkeeper's got there. Adam Grinwis, who made a couple of good saves as well, not just Jackson Lee at the goalkeeper side of things.
Here's our save of the match. Make progress towards your goals with Centerville Bank, official bank partner of Rhode Island FC. And this was one of the 6 saves tonight by the Rhode Island keeper.
Yeah, this one came with a bit of pace. That's why it's the save of the match. Some of the others he had time to react, Jackson Lee, but that was just pure reflexes to his right-hand side. Excellent save from the Australian keeper.
So that's our save of the match. And tonight's final score is 0-0. High Bar Physical Therapy, the official physical therapy partner of RIFC. Visit highbarhealth.com today to begin your journey to feeling better, moving freely, and living fully. 0-0 tonight. Gary and I recap the evening when we come back. History is made in Rhode Island.
Congratulations, Rhode Island FC, for achieving the dream and making this a reality.
Rhode Island FC, the Ocean State's only professional soccer team, has kicked off its historic inaugural season.
This is going to be a spectacle to enjoy.
Rhode Island on the board!
Don't miss your chance to be a part of the action. Family 4-packs are now available starting at just $80. Get your tickets today.
The future is bright for Rhode Island FC.
When you make your play and things just go your way, that's a good play.
Since 1974, the Rhode Island Lottery has been a good play, awarding more than $57 billion to winning players, over $6 billion in commissions to local businesses, and over $8.8 billion to the general fund, supporting all of Rhode Island.
It's a really good play that can make your day.
The Rhode Island Lottery, a good play for Rhode Island for 50 years and counting.
Hey Providence, we're Breeze Airways, and we offer non-stop flights from Rhode Island's T.F. Green International Airport. We're redefining what it means to fly up front. This one's for you. Introducing Breeze Ascent, the newest, nicest way to fly. It's seriously comfortable, satisfying, and affordable. Book today at flybreeze.com and experience the nicest way to travel. Breeze Airways, seriously nice.
Oregon Ducks, baby.
Rhode Island earns a draw against the reigning Eastern Conference champions. 0-0 the final tally here this evening on a cold, wet night in Smithfield, Rhode Island. Michael and Gary recapping this evening. And in the 36th minute, one of the many saves from Jackson Lee came off of this transitional moment as Juan David Torres found himself in.
Lovely ball played through to Torres. He comes in on his left foot, has a dip, thinks it's going in. Goalkeeper makes a fantastic save, and Juan Torres just hits the ground. He can't believe that didn't go in the back of the net.
One of the many times tonight players were left disappointed. Here in the 56th minute, Albert Dequa finally found himself with a chance.
It's a good cross in, and Turnbull's going to come in here. Steve Turnbull with a diving header. He thinks that's going in, and Grinwis denies him.
And then in the 89th minute, the best chance of the night for Charleston. Jackson Lee dives to his left and stops this one.
Yeah, Juan David Torres maybe could have gone to the other side of the goal, but he thinks he can sneak it in there. Once again, Jackson Lee makes a save, and he makes another save coming up from a ball whipped across. Markanik to the near post. MD Myers gets the header on. The goalkeeper with a fantastic right hand. Quick reflexes from a header that's powered onto target, and he saves the day for Rhode Island.
One of the 6 stops tonight for Jackson Lee. Conno Smith said that they played 5 solid halves this year, 1 bad one. Well, 2 solid halves tonight, including the fact that they had to play down to 10 men for the final 20 minutes.
Yeah, shots on target, though, will suggest that Charleston Battery were the more likely winners. Their XG will be higher But Rhode Island defended well, and that was the first thing they had to do after the second half against Tampa Bay Rowdies. And they've played the team that finished top in the East last year. So I think there's a lot of good to take away from this, from Connor Smith, and in particular the good from his goalkeeper. And by the way, Adam Grimmers with a couple of important saves himself.
Charleston is unbeaten in its last 10, the longest string for the club since 2018. Rhode Island still searching for that elusive first win, but a solid performance in the rain tonight for our entire crew. And my partner Gary Bailey, I'm Michael Watchang saying so long, where it's a scoreless draw tonight. Good night, everybody. Thanks for watching.
This copyrighted telecast of the United Soccer League Championship cannot be retransmitted, rebroadcast, or reproduced without the expressed written consent of the United Soccer League Championship.